Hey, Aaron Wills again, bringing you another reaction video. I started on Wednesday, the 11th day of September in 2024 at 3:25 p.m. Before I start this insignificant video, let's take a moment to think of and pray for the family members and loved ones of those 3,000 innocent Americans that died on this day 23 years ago. This is the 23rd anniversary of the day those cowards took down the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. 3,000 people were killed that day, including first responders and innocent people with their jobs. I think there was 24 Japanese, I heard today, there was 24 Japanese nationals at the Trade Center. So Japan, United States, and other countries was affected by those cowards that day. So now let's get back to the insignificant video compared to that day. I'll go to youtube.com per usual. I'm going to try to find a writing video today. youtube.com. There it is. I'll put in one writing about Jennifer Rassi dialogue. I want to see what Jennifer Rassi has to say about dialogue. She claims dialogue is her jam, as she says. She says she's an expert at dialogue. Let's hear what she has to say about dialogue. Hena Molesi. Dialogue. Hena Molesi. Jennifer Rassi. Start over. Give me a cursor. Bang. Rassi. Dialogue. L-O-G-U-E. Rassi dialogue. Search. Search like Lurch. I can't get that O. I don't know. You ran. Hello, everybody. Alright, back to just my voice, as boring as it is. How to write dialogue. That's what I'm looking for. There we go. Bang.
This is your life. You want to get it right.
What is this? Oh, that's
So now you're ready. It's time.
Skip. Full screen. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Next Wednesday is the 1-year anniversary of the Savior's Champion release. I honestly cannot believe it's been an entire year.
Wow, what a great time for my mic to crap out, am I right? Sorry for the interruption. Let me give you a summary of the details that didn't make it through since my microphone decided to be a little bitch. In honor of the 1-year anniversary of TSC's release, I am holding a live stream on Wednesday next week. We're going to play games, it's going to be super fun, and I will be announcing a brand new giveaway. You gotta be there to get the details. Speaking of giveaways, the Fantasy Prize Pack giveaway is still going down. If you haven't checked out the TSC audiobook yet, it's available on iTunes.
Jenna said on here, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot of girls in real life, that she's had men ask her for her 3-day worn underwear. That's some sicko shit. My buddy Brandon's into worn underwear too. He once won a pair of underwear, dirty, not dirty, but worn underwear from our friend Jenny. And then I lost them back to her. Well, I don't know. she was topless. The thing was, I gave her all kinds of weight if she played topless the whole time. And then I gave her the breaks too, because I wanted to see her boobs jiggle every time she broke. So I gave her a shit ton of weight. She played a little bit for coil. So I gave her a shit ton of weight, and and she had to play topless was all. And she beat me a lot. She wanted her underwear back, and Brandon was pissed off. Pissed. Almost as pissed as we learned that I didn't sell it. No, I can't say that one. But there's a little bit of information that was very important that I held back from Brandon that pissed him off too. I didn't tell him except for years and years later. I had to let the stipulation fall off in my mind. The stipulation fall off the thing that I stuck in the balls. It only came out because it was I think what was it called? The statute of limitations had fallen off of my promise to the girl to not say anything to him. Alright, here we go. What are we doing? My essence paused, so I paused it.
Amazon and Audible. And if you're new to Audible, you can listen to TSC for free. All of the information is listed below, along with details regarding the Fantasy Prize Pack giveaway, which is open to everyone who checks out the TSC audiobook. With that said, let's get back to the video, alright? Alright.
Moving on, today we're talking about one of my favorite parts of the writing process, and that's dialogue. A lot of you have requested more videos about dialogue, so I've put together all my tips and tricks just for you. Because I love you. In the near future, I will be giving you my tips and tricks for dialogue tags, as well as the tech.
You really love me, Jenna. Are you just saying that? I don't think you really love me. It's almost as if you don't even know me. But you're being kind to me because I'm watching your videos. And it seems like that to me. But, you could love me. Having never met me, just maybe we're soulmates. Maybe you just feel it in your heart. You feel that we're together as soulmates and that you love me. And that Chris just something in the meantime, right? No. True, not sure Chris is your soulmate. I'm sure you guys are perfect for each other. So when you tell me you love me, it's just playing with my heart, isn't it? Here we go.
Technical side of dialogue, like formatting and punctuation. However, today we are covering my 10 tips for writing dialogue, specifically character voice. If you're struggling to create an enjoyable and believable voice for your character, I've got you covered. Number 1, get to know your character's background. Believe it or not, understanding your character is pretty important for creating their dialogue. The first thing you're going to want to consider when creating your character's voice is their background. For example, is your character rich?
That's something I should be pretty good at, because that's the first thing you have to do when you develop a character on stage. As you all know, but I've talked about it a billion times, I used to be a professional stage actor. And that's the same thing. You read the script and you have to develop a background. And the motivation for the reason he says things the way you say he says them. You have to decide all that in your head. It might not come out to the audience except for the fact that, they're hearing this character not pronouncing, but delivering things the way he delivers them. And if it's consistent, the audience might get a feel for what this character is about, or what your character is about. And sometimes they might have a feeling that he went through this, he went through this and that, the same thing if you decided he or she went through when you developed the character. You might get that across, you might not, without having to say it specifically. Doesn't really matter. You just have to turn in a character that works into the play and that you don't really have to explain away. So, I don't know, what are you going to say, Jenna? Hello, everybody, and besides that.
Rich or are they poor? These details alone could drastically change their voice.
True.
A wealthy character may have extensive tutoring, and thus they may speak very eloquently. On the flip side, a wealthy character may be a spoiled brat, so maybe every time they speak, it's whiny and grating. A poor character might not have been able to afford school, so whenever they speak, it's simple and relies heavily on slang. Or a poor character might have experienced considerable hardship, which in turn breeds compassion. So whenever they speak, it's kind, considerate, and gentle. Number 2, get to know your character's personality. This should go without saying, but personality is probably going to have the biggest impact on the way someone speaks. If a character is arrogant, then their dialogue is going to be pompous and braggy. If a character is a know-it-all, then their dialogue is going to consist of them showcasing all of their vast knowledge. The key is to make sure their dialogue realistically fits their personality, and also that it's not one note. Many people, but certainly not all of them, possess depth and layers. A shy...
I was tearing up, and I can't remember why. She said something that made me tear up. Well, I think she said that, but I'm not crying that bad. I just have a little phlegm in my throat. I think it was when she said that, poor people or people who have gone through harsh times might develop compassion. And then she said that. That's what made me cry. I feel it now. That's what made me cry. Because, it's true. People who have gone through a lot of hard experiences do, what it's like to, not have blah blah blah, so they don't want to create that shit for other people. Or whatever the reason is. I'm sorry, now I'm really crying.
Character may not speak very much because they're shy. However, maybe around the right person, they can't seem to shut the hell up. Or when triggered, they aren't afraid to take a bitch down a peg. The better you know the character, the easier it will be to reflect their personality in the way they speak. Number 3, give each character their own voice. How many books have you read or movies have you watched where all the characters have the same exact brand of sarcasm or speak in the same flat, lifeless tone? A lot. When you give all the characters the same voice, you are broadcasting that they were written by the same person, which reminds the reader that they are not real. You don't want the reader to feel like this story is fake. You want them to be immersed. Everything should feel authentic. This means not every character gets to be the confident, wisecracking badass you love to write. Some characters get to be intelligent, some get to be stupid, some get to be sassy. It depends on their background, personality, and the role they play in the story. Number 4, voices can share traits. Just because everyone has their own voice doesn't mean that every single voice on this planet is 100%.
I've heard her talk about this before. I'm sure she'll get to this fact. I've heard her talk about this before. Just because one person's funny doesn't mean that he's the only one. He or she's the only one that can be funny. There can be other people that are funny in the story. And that makes a lot of sense. I don't know if she's going to cover that right now, but that's along the lines of what she talks about one person being whatever and no one else in that story can be whatever. Funny or whatever. That's why I said whatever.
Unique. We all have traits in common with people. For example, both Cliff and I are very chatty, but we're chatty in different ways. Cliff is really good at entertaining and charming a crowd, whereas I just get really excited about something and then ramble endlessly. This is a concept a lot of writers forget. They'll deem one character as the comic relief, and that's it. They're the only person who's allowed to be funny. Except lots of people are funny. Maybe instead of having a cliche comic relief character, you can have one character who's a goofball, one who's sarcastic, and one who is witty. This is 3 characters in total who are funny, but they are funny in completely different ways. Number 5, avoid banal pleasantries. Good morning! How did you sleep? Beautiful day, isn't it? The weather has been fickle, don't you think? No one gives a fuck. But Jenna, small talk is realistic. That may be true, but literally no one enjoys small talk, which means if you're featuring it in your book, no one is gonna enjoy your book. Instead of writing out the most boring dialogue in the history of literature, just write in the narrative, they exchanged pleasantries. There you go. You got your realism summed up in 3 words, and the reader can move on to the good stuff. Number 6. Sometimes you can write pleasantries. 9 times out of 10, you want to avoid small talk in your dialogue, unless it serves some greater purpose. Say your main character is having a horrible night terror. They're frozen in bed being bombarded by terrifying shadow figures, and by the time they're able to wake up, they eventually have to cry themselves back to sleep. Then their mother says to them the next morning, "Hey honey, how'd you sleep?" And they respond, "Oh, just fine." Under any other circumstance, this would just be boring small talk. But in this situation, your character has just...
That's a good example. Says a lot that she says, "Oh, just fine," when the truth is it wasn't just fine. Why is she hiding it? Why is it maybe this is a relationship with her mother that she just doesn't want to share these things? Or let's see what Jenna has to say about it. There's any number of reasons why she handles it like that instead of saying, "Oh, I had a horrible night, shadow people and whatever." Let's see what Jenna has to say. I'm not articulating it as well as I'm sure she will.
revealed to the reader that they are keeping secrets from their family. Why aren't they telling their mom about their horrific nightmares? What's really going on here? Small talk has its place in your dialogue if it tells a greater underlying story. Number 7, dialogue is vernacular. Your dialogue and your narrative should not sound the same. People don't speak in perfect grammar. They speak in run-ons, they speak in fragments, they use contractions. Do not be afraid to abandon proper English in your dialogue if it's realistic to the person speaking. No one is going to think you're less of a writer just because you're portraying the way real people really speak. That's what you're supposed to do. I promise. Number 8, avoid, as you know, exposition. Exposition in dialogue is a thing. Sometimes you need a character to explain information to another character so that it is indirectly explained to the reader. The thing is, this only works if the character they're speaking to is ignorant on the topic. For example, they're learning how to use their powers for the very first time. Unless a character is being obnoxious or mansplaining, you should never write exposition in dialogue that the other character already knows about. As you know, the history of our realm goes like this. Yes, other character, I do know this. Thanks for repeating it to me for no reason whatsoever. Find another way to deliver this information to the reader. Remember, exposition in the narrative is okay provided it's in small doses. Number 9, body language. Dialogue is vital to a story, but please don't forget that body language is just as important. Sometimes a lot more can be said by a character's body language than their voice. Their posture, facial expression, or the way they're carrying themselves can completely contradict what they're saying or reveal their true thoughts and emotions. Take the phrase, "I don't think so." It can mean completely different things depending on the body language. Say you furrow your brow. I don't think so. Say you narrow your eyes. I don't think so. Say you shrug. I don't think so. The tone of the dialogue completely changes depending on the body language used in that moment.
These are great examples too. There are several meanings of "I don't think so." There's this thing like I don't think so. Yeah? Congratulations. No? I know what it looks like. Yeah.
And number 10, show, don't tell. One of the best uses of dialogue is to show concepts to the audience instead of telling it in the narrative. No one wants to read a line that states they had known each other since childhood and loved one another like sisters. Wow, what a boring and unfulfilling way to communicate a concept that no one is going to care about. Instead, you can showcase this relationship simply by writing out their dialogue. Show these two women sharing playful banter. Have them share stories from their childhood. This clearly illustrates the depth of their relationship without telling it to the reader at all. Plus, it's so much more entertaining and rewarding to experience. So that's all I got for you today. Next week, I will be doing a live stream in honor of the 1-year anniversary of TSC. I hope you will be there because I don't want to be lonely. Don't leave me. Be there. We'll have a good time. It'll be fun. It's a party. Don't forget to Subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, you already know what you have to do. You have to ring that bell. So do it, and you won't regret it. The Savior's Champion is available in ebook, hardback, signed hardback, paperback, as well as audiobook. All of the links are listed below. Check it out and join Tobias on his thrilling adventure. And be sure to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and of course you can tweet me at Jenna Morassi. Bye!
This is Brondis.
Hi.
Why the fuck haven't you subscribed to Jenna's channel?
I have.
Do you really want to face me?
Oh,
If you
yeah.
don't do it, you know what will happen.
What?
I'll rip out your tongue,
Oh.
torture you, then leave your rotten corpse out for the birds to feast on it. Now press the goddamn button. And the bell too.
I did, tough guy. Now quit talking shit before I look for you. Let's see what Jenna has to say this time besides hello everybody. Hello everybody.
Cookie Run Tower of Adventures is officially available on both mobile and PC with Google.
Oh, buffering. No. Let's skip ad. You won't be buffering if I skip the ad. Skip ad. Yeah. Nope, still buffering. Signal things down here. Nice.
Hello, everybody. I've got big news. My Patreon page has gotten a whole new look. For those who don't know, Patreon is a platform that lets fans support creators by becoming patrons. And in return, patrons gain access to awesome perks. I reinvest my Patreon funds directly into my platform. So this whole new setup, my backdrop, the lighting, the camera, all of it is because of my patrons. With that said, my new Patreon tiers are as follows. Cyborg Lieutenants gain access to Cyborg Central, an exclusive Discord writing group hosted by me. This is where you can recruit beta readers and critique partners, you can ask writing, marketing, or publishing questions, or you can just shoot the shit with a bunch of other writers. Cyborg captains gain early access to my videos, writing tips, discounts, giveaway announcements, all of it. You guys get to see it early. Next we have Cyborg Majors who gain access to my suggestion box where they can directly request video topics. If I choose one of their suggestions, I will dedicate the video to them. Cyborg Colonels get to join me once a month for a private live stream. I will be going over all of my upcoming events as well as answering all of their questions. And Cyborg Generals get a monthly 5,000 word critique for any of their works in progress from yours truly. If you want to get in on the action, check out my Patreon. The link is listed below. We have a good time. And since we're on the topic, today's video is dedicated to one of my amazing longtime patrons, Jen Quinn. Jen Quinn is awesome. That's what I want to say. Woo! I am not good at this. Yeah, Jen Quinn is awesome. I love her. She's amazing. You're wonderful, Jen. Never leave me. A while back, I listed the 10 most common mistakes that writers make during the publishing and marketing process, and today, I am listing the 10 most common mistakes writers make during the writing process.
Okay.
So while they're writing. Jen had some questions
Yes,
about some of the
you get
mistakes writers make during the writing process. For example, how to get through that annoying middle section of your novel. So let's discuss it, shall we? I
Alright.
critique a lot of manuscripts via Patreon, and these are the issues that come up the most. Number 1. Telling. This is the most common issue I see, and it's obvious why. Telling is a lot easier to do than showing. But 90% of the time, showing is the superior option. Don't just recount the events of the story. A book is supposed to be vivid and immersive. It's not impactful to tell the reader, they were best friends. She loved him like a brother. Instead, write their playful banter. Show their sibling-like bond through action and dialogue. No reader is gonna get invested in a romance if you simply state, he was madly in love with her. Describe how his heart races when she's near. Show how his mood shifts when she enters the room. Showing is much more evocative than telling. It creates clear pictures for the reader so they can see and feel what the character is experiencing. Number 2. Fluff. A lot of people get really freaked out when I say this, but if a scene doesn't drive the plot forward in any way, delete it. That's not to say that every scene needs to have a major plot point, but every scene should be relevant. If you can remove an entire scene and the story will continue with no issue whatsoever, then it's fluff, and it doesn't benefit you or your audience. But Jenna, this fluff is important. It provides character development. First of all, the definition of fluff is unimportant content. So there's that. Second, your character should develop through the plot. You should be interweaving the development, growth, and relationships with the storyline itself. Get rid of the fluff because it's not doing you any favors. Number 3, commas. I get it. Punctuation is hard, but it also literally...
There are two different people in this world. Oxford comma people and them that ain't.
Pieces phrases together, so maybe figure it out. The good news is a lot of people don't understand commas, so if you got comma errors in your manuscript, some people might not even notice. The bad news is, if you're a punctuation stickler like myself, these kind of issues stand out like a sore thumb, and it'll make the reading experience very awkward. Unfortunately, commas are complicated. There are a lot of rules to remember, so many that I can't really list them all for you right now because we would be here all day, and this video would be very boring. Instead, I've got a Grammarly blog link listed below. It's all about comma usage. It's super easy to follow, so read it. Number 4, lack of realism. I'm not saying you gotta eliminate things like wizards and dragons, but when it comes to real life shit, like relationships and dialogue, that needs to make logical sense. Your reader needs to believe that the protagonist and their love interest would realistically be attracted to one another, and you achieve this by creating chemistry. Your reader needs to believe that someone would realistically say the things that they're saying, and you achieve this by...
Stop asking research questions to ChatGPT. Its answers are not reliable.
By viewing your characters not as mere cogs in your machine, but as real people with thoughts and opinions and shit. You don't want your reader going through your story and thinking, people don't do this shit. Literally ever. And the solution is simple. Just go through your story and ask yourself, would this character realistically say or do these things in this moment? Would anyone say or do these things in this moment? If the answer is no, fix it. Number 5, adverbs. War breaks out whenever you mention adverbs. There's one camp that says you should never use them, and another that says they're 100% necessary. Then there's a bunch of people in the middle freaking out because they don't understand why this is a point of contention. First of all, calm the fuck down. They're words. It's not that deep. Second, this whole thing is really easy to navigate. Adverbs are just adjectives for verbs. They describe actions. The reason there's so much debate is because quite often, verbs are descriptive enough on their own. If someone is running, you don't need to say they're running fast because the act of running is fast. With that in mind, anytime you're tempted to use an adverb, look at the verb that it's describing. Is there a better, more powerful verb that eliminates the need for a descriptor? For example, say you said he walked slowly. Instead, you
I don't know. What could you say? I'm kind of guessing what she might say. Instead of he walked slowly, you might say he, I don't know, I might say meandered. I don't know. What's she gonna say? Shuffled? He shuffled along, but...
could have said he plodded or trudged. These are way more interesting verbs, they create a much better visual, and you get to delete the adverb. 75% of the time the adverb isn't necessary, and for the other 25%, keep it. Let it do its thing. Number 6. Filter words. Filter words are words that filter the reader's experience through the main character's experience. Hence,
I saw, I smelled, I heard, things like that. I felt. Things like that.
It's the name. See, hear, think, realize, feel. All filter words. Sometimes they're unavoidable, but most of the time they're unnecessary. They just distance the reader from the story and the actions. But fortunately, filter words are super easy to eliminate. For example, say you wrote the sentence, "I felt grass crunch beneath my feet." Instead, you can simply write it as, "Grass crunched beneath my feet." This will allow the reader to feel like they're right beside your protagonist, experiencing the story firsthand. Number 7, the try-hard hook. There's a lot of pressure on writers to hook the readers with the first sentence. But the thing is, I've never been hooked by a first sentence, and I don't know anyone who has. Because of this, a lot of writers try too damn hard to make the first sentence a shock to the senses. And this results in a sentence that's over the top and cheesy. I've read hooks where the sunset was compared to the color of cat vomit. I've read hooks that were loaded with every curse word imaginable just to rile up the reader. I love cursing, but that's a gimmick and we know what you're doing. And 9 times out of 10, the cheesiest try-hard hooks will involve some kind of metaphor. Here's a pro tip. If your first sentence begins something like, "The protagonist or setting was as blank as a blank," maybe rethink your approach. Number 8, absolutely no hook. You don't need to punch your reader in the face with the first sentence, but at the very least, your first page should be interesting and engaging. An info dump is not interesting. Backstory is not interesting. And telling instead of showing on the first page is a one-way ticket to a DNF. If you're not sure how to start your book, here's a simple solution. Start at the beginning of the plot. 9 times out of 10, a story will include some type of problem that kicks off the inciting incident. So start your book with the problem. If the plot doesn't begin until several chapters into the book, trust me, no one's gonna wait that long. Number 9, sagging middle syndrome. Sagging middle syndrome is when the middle of your book is boring. You got an awesome inciting...
I've got a sagging middle. I don't mean a sagging lower, a sagging middle. My belly sags.
incident, you've got a badass climax, but the shit that connects these 2 points sucks ass. Typically this happens when the author doesn't outline their novel, and if they did, it wasn't with enough detail or structure. There are several structural elements that occur between the inciting incident and the climax, and this includes the complication, the crisis, and the breaking point. The complication is when whatever problem the main character is navigating gets worse, and it's possible to have multiple complications throughout the entirety of a novel. The crisis is also known as the mini-climax. Basically, something really bad happens. And then there's the breaking point, which is when it seems like all hope is lost. This can sometimes be in conjunction with the crisis or a result of the crisis. And number 10, purple prose. We all want our prose to be beautiful, but if your reader was here for poetry, they wouldn't have picked up a novel. Here's the thing, certain moments lend themselves to beautiful language. Others don't. At all. If you're artfully describing a window or a bath, maybe take it down a notch. And if your language is so ornate that readers struggle to understand what's going on, that's an issue. Your goal as a novelist should be to tell an interesting, engaging story. And readers can't be engaged if they're spending half their time deciphering whatever the fuck you're trying to say. Beautiful language is wonderful, but clarity is far more important. And these things can coexist if you avoid purple prose. So that's all I got for you today. These are the 10 most common mistakes that I see during critiques. It's nothing to be embarrassed about, and even better, all of it is fixable. A huge thank you to Jen for requesting this topic. If you'd like the chance to have a video dedicated to you, or if you want access to any of my new and improved rewards, including access to Cyborg Central, early access to my videos, live streaming with yours truly, or a 5,000 word critique once a month, definitely become a patron today. The link is listed below. We have lots of fun. It's a good time. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, you gotta ring that bell because I have bonus content. So you need to know when it goes live. The Savior's Champion is available in ebook and hardback. If you haven't picked it up yet, you totally should. It's available all over the place. I got a million links listed below. Get on it. And be sure to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and of course you can tweet me at Jenna Moresi. Bye!